Why is there a McDonald's salt packet in the middle of this field?
Clearly League of Legends, Alien laptop party here.
Lovely.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Cage Corporation.
Cage Corp.
The podcast.
We got it. I'm going to use your box of really expensive Yu-Gi-Oh cards as a point.
More specifically, the card cast. I believe we're talking about the Final Fantasy trading card game.
Yep, so Adam is sadly not with us. He would love to be here, but he was taken by satanic ritualists.
Also known as work.
Yeah. Oh wait, no. Did you not know? Remember how last episode on Can Blind People Be Racist?
Yes.
He has been kidnapped and held ransom.
By blind racists.
By blind racists, exactly.
Who are unhappy.
They are not happy because we stereotyped them as just blind racists, and they actually gave some really good points. Obviously not the racist ones, but they gave some really good points.
Did they make Trump jokes?
They made a couple of Trump jokes. They claimed that they couldn't see Hillary's emails. That was an interesting conversation. And yeah, Adam should hopefully be back next episode, though he might actually be blind and slightly racist. We don't know. We don't know what they're forcing him to watch or maybe feel, considering he's now blind.
Alright, let's stop that joke
he's
there.
Reading some very racist Braille comments.
Alright, let's stop that joke there. So Joe and I have just come out of the warm West Quay and sit in a cold park in Southampton to have a chat about the Final Fantasy trading card game. We're pretty stoked. We've enjoyed our couple of matches. They were very intense matches, weren't they?
Well, considering we played like 3 games of that, no, we played two games of that, and it was inches away from draws each time. In a way. Like it was extremely. That last game came down to just if I could block your last attack.
Yeah, it was close. I think what there is to it is there's a lot of strategy regarding the forwards. Now, we're not going to explain how Final Fantasy TCG works. We're
Link in the description to I think actually the creators of the game on the official
I think they've done an explanation, but it's not that great. Honestly, I'd watch the Fftcg gaming one. I've seen another. I'm going to coin this term now and claim that we're part of this. Is the Final Fantasy TCG tubers. I'm going to claim that we're part of that now, and I'm going to say that
Cage Corp is whatever we make it.
This guy, we have a division. I think we should have divisions. But anyway, so one of the guys
maybe better than the division game. But
the game division. The gaming division. But anyway, right, so essentially
the division of blind racists.
Essentially it was a couple of really close matches, and we also went into Forbidden Planet. We're actually going to buy a couple of boosters. To be told they're sold out with boosters.
And the decks.
And decks. So there is no Final Fantasy TCG stock in the only place around that actually stocks it.
I will need to...
Online it is hundreds for booster boxes, like £400 I think for booster boxes, which are normally 130.
What I'm going to do is next week, currently we're at the Forbidden Planet in Southampton.
Yeah.
Next week I'm going to go to the London one, which is their big main base. Yeah. And I'll see if they have any there. If they've sold out there, then I think we can officially declare it a hit.
I think it's very popular. Okay, so it's not stocked as well as say Magic the Fappening or Yu-Gi-Oh! Pokemon.
The thing with, if you don't mind me waiting with this, I think the success of Final Fantasy TCG is because a lot of people, like I originally wasn't interested in the card game. I just wanted to go, oh, I love that character from when I played that game. I want their card.
Yeah.
And then they learn to play, and it gets really exciting. So I think a lot of people are going to come into this as fans of that. Kind of like what Hearthstone was meant to be for fans of Warcraft. But then I don't think
there's a physical Warcraft.
Yeah. Then no one connects with that anymore. Whereas with this, all of the Final Fantasy fan base is going to pour into this, and vice versa. They're going to make money from this. I'm calling it now. We're recording this on the 28th, so Final Fantasy 15 has just come out in England. Yeah. I bet by a month's time, probably by the next time we record this podcast, they will have released Final Fantasy 15.
As Opus 2, I can't see them not doing so.
If they don't do that, then Square Enix is really failing their money, considering they already have Worlds of Final Fantasy as part of the game.
So the question today essentially comes down to how popular, how long do we think Final Fantasy TCG will be about? Because of course, as someone who's a massive trading card game fan myself, I've seen and heard and known of loads of trading card games from the original TCG. I'm mentioning, just going to put that out there, but that's for another time.
It's available on Amazon right in a couple years. Never.
It's not. This is a free-to-print. But anyway, more on that later. I'll make my own video. There's also, like Vampire: The Eternal Struggle, / Jihad, made by Richard and himself. Richard Garrison.
Richard Nixon.
His name escapes me now. But yeah, him, the guy that made Magic in the first place. Of course, we've seen a bunch of them from like Huntic, Bakugan, tried something completely different. It was kind of not a trading card game, but so it was.
I saw it more as like a collectible toy style of one.
Yeah,
the cards didn't seem to play much. Anyway, that's off topic.
We see Vanguard. I think I'm interested predominantly based on how well Vanguard's doing. Vanguard's carved its own little niche, and it's not really got a huge competitive presence here in the UK. I haven't seen any Vanguard tournaments as a locals, but having walked into a shop called 8-Bit Gaming in Bristol with my girlfriend a couple of weeks ago, there's already a shop hosting a Final Fantasy TCG tournament. They sold packs in there. They sold packs and boosters in there, and starter sets in there. So that's somewhere else I know I can go. Yeah. But I think what is part of the trading card game is a competitive scene. Knowing that you can go somewhere, because if, like us, we've got ourselves and other friends, we can buy all the packs, because I've got every single starter set.
Well, we've got a friend, Melon Prince Tony, the artist. Check out her work; it is actually quite stunning.
It's pretty good.
She is a Final Fantasy fan, and she plays Yu-Gi-Oh with us occasionally, but she's not really
very casual.
Yeah, very casual. It's not very much of a card fan as much as we are. And as I said earlier, she is one of those fans who has gone, I like that character, I'm getting that deck.
Yeah,
hang on, this game is really fun.
And it is fun. Yeah. I think the interesting part would be, I think it's going to be more popular than Cardfight Vanguard. Much as I hate to say it, because I do enjoy Vanguard.
I would say it's probably going to be more popular than things like Vanguard, and definitely more than Huntic was. I'd push maybe at its peak, it'll be just a little bit better than Duel Masters was. For those of you who are alive and knowledgeable in that time to know what Duel Masters was.
Do we think then that the Final Fantasy trading card game is going to have longevity? Do we think it's got enough steam? Obviously, it's early days. It only came out last month. But do we think it has enough steam to push itself into longevity? Because a lot of trading card games fall within their first couple of years. We haven't seen so many of them now. Do we think it's up there to compete with the big three, Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon?
I think definitely Magic. A lot of people have compared it to Magic, and I think it's going to get, because of that Final Fantasy background, it's going to get more of a fan base. Yeah. And they'll probably play in like other Square Enix games. We might see a Tomb Raider expansion.
There is a Tomb Raider CCG, but that's very old. Yeah. Plays very
there might be a Kingdom Hearts expansion. If they do a Kingdom Hearts expansion, when they release Kingdom Hearts 3, that will shove it so far high, it might rival Pokemon. But, and here's what I think is sadly going to be its defeat. So, Final Fantasy 15 is the last main entry in the Final Fantasy game series. So we might get a 15-2. Yeah, it's the final Final Fantasy. We might get a Final Fantasy 15-2. We're definitely going to get a Final Fantasy Dissidia remake / new game, whatever it is. Yeah. But it's the last big game they're going to do, and then they're going to do something new.
Okay. So they're still carrying on with the Final Fantasy thing, but
but maybe just things like Worlds of Final Fantasy 2, or that kind of thing. Maybe another Tactics.
Yeah, so good.
There's never, unless they change their mind, there's never going to be Final Fantasy 16.
Okay.
So what that could mean is, in a couple years' time, when Square Enix have maybe said, we're just working on Worlds of Final Fantasy 2 / Dissidia, whatever it is. This is our last Final Fantasy project. That all of our goodness is going into this. That game will come out. It'll be popular for like 3 months, as they usually are.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And I think at that time, Final Fantasy TCG, unless it's built up enough strength on its own, it will die.
That's a very intriguing point. I didn't know this is the last main series entry in Final Fantasy. That's
why they changed it from Versus 13 to 15, because they wanted to do a grand thing rather than just one more spin-off. Because otherwise 14 would be the last game. And
that's an MMO.
I don't know anyone who plays 14.
I know Pro Jared, but anyway.
So
that's intriguing.
Personally,
that's intriguing. Yeah, I don't know personally. That's intriguing. That is very intriguing. Okay, so in light of that, I don't know, because it's been going in Japan for 5 years. I think a good few years. I think it's got the mechanics. I like they're not stupid. They are
yeah.
they're very good with what they're doing. Where they're getting like you can get a cloud. There's like 3, 4, 5 different types of cloud stripe alone.
There's like 4 different clouds, 3 different snows.
They're using their characters very wisely.
And
they're not just going right. Here's a card for cloud. Here's a card for this. Here's a card for that. Here's a card for the other, which gives them more card options because of course they've got realistically they've got a unlimited pool of what they can draw from.
And they're not doing just like limited versions like I've seen from the Japanese pack. You'll get like the regular version, the illustrated, the Dissidia, the sequel, the World of Final Fantasy. Probably eventually that's going to come, and they'll just keep. Even then, it won't limit it to one of those. Like there's already 2 different clouds, both from Final Fantasy VII, the original and the remake, and this, and they'll just keep adding to it, and it'll just stay good.
Because of course that's its biggest. I'd say that's its biggest setback. Is that it's got a limited pool of things it can draw from. It's not like with, say, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. Well, say actually Pokemon has got the same sort of problem. Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic, where they can just make
Pokemon
anything
is
up.
not going to go away anytime soon. That's going to keep making games. So they can keep making cards.
Yeah, of course. But
that's it. They've made like 50 different Charizard cards.
That's true. But like they can do that with Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh, they can just make up anything that fits roughly, especially with Magic at least. Yu-Gi-Oh's kind of ruining the vibes, but that's a discussion for another time. I think it's got the legs to do it. I think it's a positive sign, and it is. And I think the guy that was when I was talking to him in Forbidden Planet originally, I think he's onto something when he's saying that there is certainly if cards are selling for high money, if people are putting values on cards, and I've seen cards go for like £20, £30. If booster packs are going for 300-400 quid, you're onto something. It's selling, it's popular, and it's a fun game to play.
I'm going to put a weird metaphor on this. You got to stick with me with it.
Okay.
It's going to be Usain Bolt. It's not going to be the Flash. As in, it's Usain Bolt. Actually, no. Probably better metaphor is it's going to be Usain Bolt. It's not going to be Mo Farah. Usain Bolt can run for a short distance, like 100 meters, super fast, faster than anyone else.
Yeah.
And with that, he gets his stardom. Mo Farah, however, not as fast as Usain Bolt, but can go for much longer at a higher speed and would win the Grand Scheme race. This is going to come in, it's going to overtake Yu-Gi-Oh! As we've seen, it's currently doing better than Yu-Gi-Oh!
Is it?
But, considering like it's sold out of its latest pack and Yu-Gi-Oh! Hasn't done that for years.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's going to come in strong,
the demand, don't they?
And then I reckon as we go further, as we pass that 100-meter mark, it's going to slow down.
Do we think
and Yu-Gi-Oh's going to stay on rate?
Of course, I think Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic, Pokemon, they're not going to get particularly hugely disturbed by Final Fantasy. I mean, Cardfight Vanguard is the closest, and even that hasn't.
Yeah, it's going to be enough to make them quit. They're going to take notice.
Yeah,
it's a flare gun, not a machine gun. Essentially,
it's bright. It happens.
Take a drink every time I say a weird metaphor.
Yeah, you have so many strange metaphors. So you don't think it's going to last forever then? You don't think Square Enix are going to support it like they have the Japanese one for years and years?
If they do, if they actually take note of their other games, like I've seen they did promotional Kingdom Hearts and a game called Third Birthday. Don't know what that's about. All I know is there's a shower scene in it because that's all that came up when I looked into it.
Okay, that's okay. All right then.
I don't know what the game. I'm sure the game's more than that one shower scene. But they did promotional cards for those 2 games. If Square Enix get some heads to go and do like, here's a special like Opus 3 guest pack, here's Hitman, here's Tomb Raider, here's Kingdom Hearts, his 3rd birthday.
That would be weird for the FFTCG.
It would be
if
weird,
they branched off and you could do like separate, like if DC and Marvel had a card game and they said, oh, you can combine the rules and play DC vs Marvel or something.
Yeah.
If they did something like that, like, well, here's a Kingdom Hearts set, which is different from Final Fantasy, but you can still play it with the same rules.
That game I showed you when we were from Planet, Smash Up, where you get like you get the multiple different decks, you just choose 2, shuffle them together, and that's your deck for the game.
Yeah.
That would work if they did that kind of thing. But
I'm not sure if they would, just because it's a Final Fantasy thing.
Yeah, if they did it, it would solve the issue of running out of characters.
Yeah.
However, they probably won't, and that's why I think it's not going to last as long.
I don't know, because obviously I think there's 2 ways you can look at a game. Like something like Netrunner, which lasted for years and years, despite not having any expansions, and was killed off in like 2000 something. It has then been eventually reprinted by Fantasy Flight Games and turned into an LCG. But I say, Netrunner for years was a dead TCG. People still played it. There was still competitive play, but it wasn't supported. New cards weren't coming out. I think it's the same with Star Wars. Yeah, I think it's like Star Wars still has that. The original Star Wars CCG from like 94, 95.
Well,
that still got played.
You're always going to get diehard fans to replay things. That's why we still get like people do competitive speed runs of old games. Like, Metroid hasn't had a successful title in, I would say,
Prime.
I would say decades.
2, 3, one of them. Yeah, it hasn't had a good one.
So, but people still have a cult following for Samus. She's still in every Smash Bros. She's still in the public eye. When Nintendo does like, here's our grand characters, Samus is usually standing there.
Yeah.
This, even if the card game dies, the fans will not.
I think, I'd like to see some more. I think we need to see more competitive matches. I think somewhere like Forbidden Planet, or if not, I'd organise my own. But there needs to be a larger competitive scene. We need to start having from Square Enix. If it's going to go big, it has to have a world tournament or a tournament like Yu-Gi-Oh has its YCS and Magic has the Grand Prix, I should say. It needs to have a genuine competitive scene where people can be like, oh, well, here's a tournament in London. Go to London. And, oh, look, you've qualified for the European Championships or something. Something like that is what it needs to be big. Obviously, you need locals. But you do need a bigger... And we need more for FFTCGers. I feel on YouTube, I don't feel any reservation in suggesting that that's us. We are also one of them. Cagecast Gaming is another, and there's another guy, and I can't remember his name, but he's English as well. I really liked his video. So as far as I'm aware, there's at least 3 of us.
Let's be honest, we can't really compare ourselves to them, considering us, the difference in subscriber titles.
Well, no, but we can still
we're
say
adding to the community.
Yeah, we add to the we need that's it. We need a community as much as we do a competitive scene, because then we can. We need like a YouTube presence. I think is particularly important because people can find the videos and be like, oh, okay. So because I've seen at least one other guy as well who does who has proper deck builds and they're taking it seriously, like an ice control deck versus a fire burn deck or whatever. And
speaking as
carry on.
Yeah. Speaking as an ex-marketer, I'm giving up on that career line. It's too stupid. But like if Square Enix said, here's a UK tournament to celebrate the release of the Final Fantasy or whatever, go play there now, and it's being announced by the voice actor for Cloud in the Final Fantasy VII remake, and he's like announcing it. Yeah. If they did shit like that, that would be incredible.
Yeah, it needs to have a YouTube, like a live stream event as well.
I think that would make it overtake things like Yu-Gi-Oh! Because if Yu-Gi-Oh! Said, here's our grand tournament, narrated by Kaiba.
Yeah, they do stuff. I think they do stuff like that. But it's more the validity. I think a lot of people would get sort of be like, oh, Kaiba, because a lot of people don't watch the anime anymore. Yeah. The competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! Scene. But I think if you had, it would validate the game by having a genuine competitive scene. And I think one way they should do that is offer prize money. Magic the Gathering offers big prize money. I'm pretty sure Pokemon offers prize money. Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't, which is stupid. Konami of America / Europe have sort of said, yeah, we'd like to give prize money because we want to. It's a big scene, but we can't because everyone thinks it's Konami of Japan has this weird idea that it's a children's card game over here, even though in Japan it's 13 plus and has a completely different thing. But whatever. I think if they had something like that, or even like decent prizes,
well, it would be
that
great.
Would make sense.
And even again, speaking ex-marketer, if they gave like the winner, here's like a £200 gift card for the Square Enix website where you can buy like models or new games or stuff like that.
Yeah, even if they give like special edition cards, even if they give like special edition cards, like heroic.
You win a tournament. Here's a heroic Noctis and Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, here's FF15 with a special FF15 PS4 with the skin and shit. Stuff like that. That would be decent, but prize money is when it gets serious. Yeah. But it obviously depends on the scale of the TCG. I mean, it could be a case of it's sold out because there wasn't much stock. Well, we're not sure, but there was a decent amount of stock in Forbidden Planet. There was like 20 odd decks and a good few boxes of boosters. But I think it has the legs to do it. I think it would be popular. It needs to get popular, and it's only been a month, so we can't say too much. But I think a decent amount of people seem to play it from where I've been, and a decent amount of people are picking up the cards and going, oh, these are nice cards. So it's got an impact. It's different. It's a great game. It requires strategy to play. I think it could genuinely. I think it can go the distance. I think it could be I think it could go from the big 3 to the big 4. That's what I think.
Okay.
I think it could be
You
up there.
think it could be
in
Mo
the same,
Farah?
I think it could be in the same
Mo
breath.
Final Fantasy TCG.
I think it could be mentioned in the same breath as Magic, Pokemon, and Yu-Gi-Oh! In a couple of years.
That would be.
I genuinely think it can do it because it's got
as much as I've like down talked it, I want that to be true
because it's got the Final Fantasy base of casual players, which will support the competitive side.
Yeah.
Of people who play trading card games. You've got a massive pool of fans who love Final Fantasy. People like Antonio and yourself who bought it because, okay, friend recommended it and I like Final Fantasy and shit, the game's really good. And you get into it like that.
That's legitimately what I did with that.
And that's the key. Whereas Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic and Pokemon, I mean, Pokemon's got its Pokemon fans. Yu-Gi-Oh! Has Yu-Gi-Oh! fans, but that's quite niche comparative to Final Fantasy. It's just a huge gaming title. Anyone can like Final Fantasy and be like, okay. And the cards themselves look quite adult, don't they? Rather than like Pokemon cards with cute
Pokemon cards is all like either really cute or like here's it surrounded by flames. And with Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't even know what the Yu-Gi-Oh! designers are smoking anymore. Whatever they were smoking when they made the first wave of cards, go back to that.
Do that shit.
Get off your heroin. Go back to the cocaine because that was really good.
Go back to smoking marijuana. I mean, I think we should have another debate about that for another day. But my closing summary is: it's going places. It's going to be a big deal. We can, and I will support it as much as I can. We will, as a channel, we will upload videos of our custom decks when we get there. We will do matches. We might even start hosting tournaments. If you're in the Southampton area, right, and you're listening to this, comment below
or maybe
saying you want a tournament. We will try and organise one if there's enough scope for it, and we will film it on the channel. And that is a genuine promise from myself as a Final Fantasy trading card gamer. I would organise a tournament in some capacity, even if everyone had to fucking bundle around my house. I would be like, come on in, boys, let's go.
There we go. Final Fantasy TCG 2020. I spoke for it.
2017 Southampton Open. That would be so cool.
I know this is completely unrelated, but I'm really confused why everyone's saying 2020. Like, as they generally believe Trump has no chance of winning after the next.
It's so much I don't know. But anyway, that was my thoughts on it. I mean, and if you have any summary thoughts.
I think, from what you've said as well, as someone, I've played a bit of Magic. I played like one game, found it boring and unexciting. But that was generally just because I thought the designs and the card, they look very murky, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, so I think sometimes they look cool, but sometimes it's a bit like, I like a lot of the older cards. Magic.
That was a bit meh on both sides. Yu-Gi-Oh!
Love till the end of time.
Old was good. The newer cards is completely hit and miss. Pokemon is just, if you're really big fan of Pokemon, you'll probably play this. You'll probably play the Pokemon card game. But besides from that, outside that, if you're like me and you're just like a casual fan of Pokemon, I don't think many people will go into it. Final Fantasy has enough of a fan base, and it has really good gameplay. And
the card quality, if nothing else as well, I should probably mention the card quality is amazing. I think it's made of like a plastic rather than card.
It's beautiful.
So good. It's one of the first trading cards I've genuinely picked up and thought, I don't actually feel like I have to sleeve this in order to keep it nice.
And
so good.
Well, we played a couple games. We played 2 games in there and then 2 games of Yu-Gi-Oh! Instantly afterwards. I have never played a game against anyone at Final Fantasy TCG.
And you beat me first
And
match.
I beat you first time because it's balanced. We then played Yu-Gi-Oh! I used my custom deck. You used your new ABC
XYZ.
ABC 1, 2, 3.
In the first, I OTK'd Joe turn 2 with 3 ABC Dragon Ball.
And I've been playing just as long as you have. And it's just that I chose a different strategy.
We've both been playing since 2002 when the game came out.
And I think that says it all, really. Final Fantasy TCG is so much more balanced than Yu-Gi-Oh!
It requires a lot of strategy beyond what cards you draw and when you use them. It's more of, what do I discard from my hand? How can I need backups on the field? It's great. I mean, it might change in the next couple of years. Probably will. Who knows? But
as a dumb thing in the second game, I've got this, like, rank 5 Sephiroth that can freezes 2 people when it comes in or does something stupid like that.
Yeah.
And I discarded it.
Discard 2
I discarded it in the first turn, thinking
pay cost.
to pay cost. I did it as like a stupid thing to say, like, I want to have a decent game where I'm not just pulling out my OP cards. I did that, and we still
kept Sephiroth out, but it was
still 6-6 at the end.
Yeah, 6-6. And
I would have won if I'd kept it.
I gamed you with Tidus, and I get Tidus for game. That was great.
If it wouldn't have been for Tidus, that game could have very easily been a standstill.
It was very good.
Final Fantasy TCG is way more balanced than Yu-Gi-Oh! It's way more fun than Magic, and I think Final Fantasy might be edging in popularity above Pokemon. So it does have the stats.
We'll see.
It is just if it lasts, which I want it to.
I'm
but
not
I don't
sure
know.
if it will. Even 3 years out of it, we'd have a decent card pool. We could make our own cards. We could keep competitions running.
In the thumbnail, I'm going to Photoshop us into 2 cards.
We could introduce, as a community, we could do what like Netrunner did in that, and introduce deck building and organise our own tournaments. But we'll leave it here. Hopefully, we'll upload a video of us playing with Fftcg, and we'll play a match. Hopefully, and until then,
don't
guys,
freeze to death out in the streets of Southampton.
I'm actually warming up a bit now.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for listening to our ramblings of the Final Fantasy trading card game.
Yeah.
If you'd like to subscribe to Cage Corporation for more of these videos, boy, and click the click
What
the little,
was that stupid?
boy, click the annotation that's on the screen.
I've never
right
seen
now.
anyone wank a nipple. That was.
Click the annotation that's appearing on the screen.
Click the annotation which I photoshopped onto Liam's nipple.
No, there is a genuine. I figured out how to do it now, so we can put little. If you haven't noticed already, I've put little. I
watch all of our videos on mobile, so
no, even then, right? Anyway, right, thank you very much for watching.
Oh wait,
guys.
we forgot one thing before we finish.
What's that?
We've made sure to mention the blind races, so hopefully Adam will be returned to us. And until then, which Final Fantasy character should appear in the edgy Yu-Gi-Oh remake? Sephiroth. We've already got Pegasus. Sephiroth as Dark Magician. I think that actually works together quite well.
Dark Magician Girl.
We've already got Dark Magician Girl. That's Natalie Dormer. Sephiroth, Dark Magician. Let's Photoshop him making out of Natalie Dormer, and we are done. Boom. See you guys in the next video.
Thank you very much for watching.
Take care. Now for the awkward couple seconds as I turn my phone on to cancel the recording. I wonder how Adam's doing.
Help me! Help me! They've trapped me against the desk!